Welcome back. This is Jeff Byers. This is ANI 235, and this is Module 9, where we're actually texturing the head. You can either use Photoshop. We talked about using Photoshop, which is what I used. But then you can use there's another way you could go. You could do everything in Substance Painter. You could go in and do the base texture material, skin texture material. They've got some defaulted texture materials. Now again, I'm using Painter 2020, and there have been some changes in importing. So if you're using an older version of Painter, this may look a little different, but feel free to continue opening your Painter up like you always do. So you go to File, New, and whatever document resolution. I usually go with 4096, and you want PBR, metallic roughness, algorithmic, and you want to select your file this way. So here is my OBJ with the texture, raw texture on it, 4096. I'm not using Udemy tiles, but if you are using Udemy tiles, this is where you checkbox it, use UV tile workflow. I'm not using Udemy tiles with this example, but I am using Udemy tiles on my finished product, my finished result. This is just for an example. Do you have any maps that you want to load? So if you brought your character into ZBrush, do you have any height maps or normal maps you'd like to use? You can add those here. If not, then you go ahead and click OK. And this is our character, and this is basically what it looks like when it comes in. I didn't bring in the eyelashes or anything like that. Everything else, no clothing, just the skin. And then I can go from there. And you can see through. You can see this is not double-sided, so you can see all the way through the head to the back of the back. Alright, so we want to go ahead and bake our maps. I want to bake some maps so we can use smart materials as well if we choose to do that. So I'm going to go to Edit, Bake Mesh Maps. I'm going to go in here and make sure the output size is 4096 by 4096. We're going to keep everything defaulted. The only thing I want to turn off is the ID map. I don't want an ID map, and we're going to go ahead and use low poly mesh as high poly. We don't have a low poly mesh, but we're going to just use the same medium mesh high poly that we have, and then we're going to go ahead and click on this folder here, and we're going to use the same exact mesh, okay, that we pulled in. And when we're done, we're going to go ahead and bake selected maps, and we'll bake all those maps for us. Okay, and it's done. Alright, great. So we're going to go in here, and you can see we have our layers. Okay, and so we can go in here and search our materials if we'd like to. You can search skin. So let's go ahead and type that in. There may be some skin that you may not see that I pulled from Substance Source, so don't worry about that. Just basically fixate on other things, like here's the back skin, and we're looking for skin that would be on the cheek or chin. There we go. That looks pretty good. So I can click on that, and I can dump it on top, right on top of that if I want to. And I'm going to go ahead and scale that to a smaller scale. Something that, and this is basically micro detail that you're adding to the skin. I personally think the reason why I didn't do this for my characters, because I personally think that it doesn't make a whole lot of sense to add micro detail to a stylistic character. You may feel differently, but that's how I feel. And if you do that, you need to make sure that click on your normal map and turn your height map off. We don't want to use that. You don't need metal on, so color, rough, and normal is what you're going to want to have. And you can see that looks much better. It's not so, you know, exaggerated. You turn off the height map, it looks much nicer. Okay, and you can go in here with the texture as far as the roughness goes, what you want, how you want the skin to react to the sunlight in your scene. Okay, and you can, if you want to take this further, then of course you can go in there and add lip, you know, normal map, lips. You're gonna have to find some skin alpha maps, basically alpha maps or hard surface modeling maps. I would go with the alpha maps. There's probably alpha maps out there. You can go in there and find some textures. You can paint those on and add some detail that way as well if you want. Okay, that's the start of it. So that's our normal map, and again we can go in there and make those changes here under the scale, right? Make that a little bit, maybe a little bit larger scale so you can see it a little bit. Okay, and you can just kind of go from there, what looks best for you and what you're looking for. So I'm going to bring that back up again. I just want it to be subtle. If we're going to do it, make sure it's subtle. Okay. You can have the normal intensity, bring that up and down as you want. Keep it, you know, make it subtle. I'm just going to keep it pretty subtle and flat right now. And then of course you can paint directly on your model, okay, using the paint tools, and I'll have a video on that up in the lecture section. You can paint directly on your model if you want to. But I'm interested in seeing what I can do with Smart Materials and the skin. So I'm going to take this off, or just turn it off for now. I'm going to go in here, Smart Materials. Now the reason why I baked all those maps, because I can use a Smart Material now. I'm going to go in here and type in skin on here. And you can see we've got skin face, and we've got skin human, and then skin feverish. So I'm going to pull and just kind of plop that on there, and that looks pretty cool. I like that. And we can see it's got a nice, and we can probably go in here and find out, open that up, and so we have, that's pretty cool. We've got color, roughness, and let's turn on normal map. Okay. And we got looks like that's the old one. Base skin, that's the normal. Skin detail, skin pores. Okay, you can see we got height. I'm going to turn height off. I'm going to turn normal on. Skin patches. Okay. We're not going to be using height maps in Arnold. Okay, so AO, subsurface scattering, skin face. So you can see I've gone through all of those. And this is what makes up that particular. I think you have this one. It comes with base skin. Again, base skin. Do not want that height map on. Okay. Alright. Okay, there we go. And that's a good start. I think that looks pretty good for skin. That's a very nice start. And so with that, you could use that as a base to paint on. If you don't want to paint in Substance Painter, paint directly on here, you want to use Photoshop, then you can go ahead and go to File and export textures. Okay, and in here you want, these are the settings you want to have. So PBR metallic roughness needs to be just PBR metallic roughness. Okay, let's go in here and find that. PBR metallic roughness. Where do you want to place it? I want to place it into my documents folder, Maya, projects, and this folder here, and then source images. And select that folder. Okay. PNG, 8 bits, yes. Yes, that one's based on texture size. And then here I'm going to do no padding pass through. AI standard surface. Go into output templates. We're going to use Arnold AI standard. Now, because I'm just using one tile, a standard tile template, I'm going to use Arnold AI standard. Now, if you were using tiles across the entire body and you had 4 or 5 of them, you'd want to use Arnold Udemy Legacy. Only you know what you're doing in Substance Painter. I am just doing an example, but with the one texture map. So this is the texture maps it's going to give me. I am going to basically ignore what looks like is the height and emissive maps and metalness maps. I am not going to use a metalness map. Now you can use it, you can pop it in there and see what it looks like, but I'm not going to use it. You may want to use it just to make sure you keep consistent with your maps and your inputs, but you can, if you don't like the result in Arnold, then you can definitely take that one out. But the height map we're not going to use in the emissive map, so you need to make adjustments there. But we're not going to turn anything off or get rid of those. We're going to use AI standard surface. If you're using one UV map, not Udemy tiles. If you're using Udemy tiles, you have to use that. All right. So with that said, I'm going to click on that list of exports. It tells you which one, what they're going to be called. Okay. So make sure you make a note of that. You can copy and paste that into a Word document or something like that. But anyway, everything else looks good. Okay. Alright, so go ahead and save settings, or you can go and just click on export. We're going to export this out. And it's writing the maps. Okay, great. Perfect. So I'm going to close that. Looks like it's all done. And what if we want to change the color of the skin? We sure can. We can make that a little bit darker if we want to. Now, I think this may be the uniform subsurface scatter, so I have to be careful to not to go too dark. Let's go in here, and we can go into that's the base color, skin detail, skin pores, skin patches. This is the subsurface scattering. So you might want to go in here and see what we got. There's the color for that. So let's go ahead and change that. And you can see you can start changing the color of the skin if you'd like. There we go. That looks pretty good. I like that. Let's go back to the base color real quick, and we can make adjustments there too as well if we want to. Okay, so whatever skin color you'd like, you can do that here with those two different. So you basically have the outer skin and then the subdermal skin, which is up here underneath this guy right here, and you can kind of play with that a little bit. That looks pretty good. And when we talked about having a kind of a pink color, and you can see how that does change how it looks. Okay, the subdermal, we want to have a little blood flow in there. So we want to keep it, pinkish or red. Okay, whichever you prefer. Okay. So, and then you can export that out the same way. All right, cool. So those are different things you can do, changing the color of the skin if you'd like to. All right, so with that done, again, you can do the same thing here with exporting. You can rewind the video, move it back if you need to, watch that again. as I export it. And you can see that we still have the nice detail in the skin. Okay. Alright, cool. Alright, so you can do that, and there's lots, and just play around with some of this stuff. You can play around with the subsurface scatter color, scale, and all that stuff too as well. So keep that in mind. Alright. And my skin pores, take a look at that. I've got normal on. Can I turn that up a little bit? Contrast, balance, attributes. Alright, okay, that's basically it for Substance Painter. And once you get your skin color and skin tone and how you want the light to reflect off the skin, get all that set up, and then you export the textures like I showed you before. The next thing you're going to be doing is, if you don't like what you see there, you can always go online and you can find textures, skin textures, normal maps, and pull those in. This is Substance Source. And you can see that you can find all kinds of skin textures in there. There's also, let's see, what's that other one called? I keep always forgetting. Let me look on here. Looks like GameTextures.com. There we go. And I can type in skin. It's not free. And the one I found, tiling skin, was this one. This one was kind of cool. I actually have bought that one, and it wasn't too expensive. And I'm gonna go in here to shelf, and I'm gonna import it in. See if I can find it real quick. Add resources and find my textures in here. Substance Painter, there we go. And skin, where are you? It's tiling skin. That's the one that you saw that I just had. Gonna open that up. Okay. It's undefined, so we're gonna go to base material. Okay, and then import resources to the shelf. I want it in the shelf. Import. There's the tiling skin. Okay, we're done with this one, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to go up to this and delete that. Also, I'm going to delete this one, and I'm going to go ahead and throw this one on, the one I just bought. Okay, so there we go. And let's take a look at that. Again, you know, this is probably why I don't get into the normal mapping part. I don't mind. They give you a nice start, a base, but I don't know. It doesn't look like face skin to me. You have to go pretty small, and you won't be able to see it at that point anyway. Then why have it, right? But it's got some interesting markings on it, you know, which makes it look more like skin, right? Which I think is kind of cool. I like that. I don't know if it's worth going out and buying it, but okay. So that's another route you have. You can find your own textures and pull them in. You know, your own Substance Painter materials. They have to be substance materials to be able to pull in here. Now, if you have textures, you can use Substance Designer. Substance Designers is for creating materials for Substance Painter, so you can bring your textures into Substance Designer and go from there. So if you like that, then you can export this. You can paint over top of this if you want to. Start painting in the details, the lips, and you know, and the makeup and all that other stuff in there that you want. And then bake it out, and then pull in whatever textures you want into Photoshop, and then from there you bring it back into Maya, and I showed you how to apply it, the texture maps in Maya, and so you can just watch that video again. But that's it. That's for skin texturing. You can add, and these are great for base, for base material. So I'm going to go ahead and export this one out and do one real quick one. Metallic roughness, everything's already set up. The only thing is I need that set up. That, it looks like it remembered everything. Nope, it didn't remember this one. And so we're good there. Okay. And I want it to export it somewhere else because it's going to overwrite the other one I have if I do too many projects. Just you need to be aware of that. So I'll put this one in images folder. You can't rename it, so basically it just remembers the name of the object. That's what it goes by, the name of the object. So if you wanted to experiment with different textures and not have it overwrite, you would have to export your OBJ as a different name each time to experiment with your textures. So just remember that and export that out, and that's going to export it out into my images folder, so I won't overwrite what I just did with the other textures. It's all done. Okay, so you can go into Photoshop and pull those in. Let's see what we have here. Open, if I can find it fairly quickly so you guys can take a look at it. And now you can, basically paint over the base map, which is really pretty cool. So the first one I did, let's see if I can find it. Okay, test body base. I think that's it. I think. Open. There it is. Pretty cool. And if you get close enough, that's a nice base to start with. It's got the nice texture on there. If you don't like it, you can always go back in there and make different, changes to it, darken it, whatever you want to do. But that's what it comes out as, and you can open up the other objects as well. Let's go in here. Open the metallic map, the normal map, the roughness map. Roughness map, that's important. So that's what the roughness map looks like. It's just the skin itself randomly placed over the entire thing. Anyway, so that's basically how you can get started with a base map. Let's look at the other base map. It's going to look totally different than this. It's probably what you want to do. Use that instead. So I'm going to go into my, let's go up one, Documents, Maya, Projects, and this time the Images folder, and I want to use the small icons. There it is. There's the base for that one, and this is going to look totally different. And that's what that looks like. And you can see when I get closer that we got our repeated texture here, which is nice. It's a good start, right? Okay. And basically you would plop this over top of what you have here, okay? And then basically you can paint in darken areas, and then that would be your base texture. And it's just a start, That's what I would do. I mean, you guys can do any way you want, and I'm just giving you different choices that you guys can use, and I want you to have fun, and want you to experiment, and go out there and research, and find the way that works best for you. I showed you the way I like to do things, but I wanted to show you some other ways. But have fun texturing the face. And again, watch the first video, part 1, to get the texture maps to work properly. Alright, and you can also look in part 1 how I painted my, and you can pause it and paint it exactly like mine and get the same color if you want to get the same results. Alright, Anyway, have a great day, have fun texturing the face, and I'll see you guys in my next video.